Welcome back, deep divers. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Great. Today we're going to be tackling the worlds of management and sales.
With a little NLP sprinkled in, right?
Yep, you got it. We've got some fascinating audio excerpts lined up.
And a workbook too, I believe.
Exactly. All kind of focused on helping us understand the connection between awesome management, effective selling, and that NLP magic.
Sounds intriguing. Where should we start?
Well, I found this one bit super interesting. One of the sources we have actually calculated the alphabetical value of attitude.
Attitude.
Yeah, like each letter has a numerical value and you add them up.
What's the point?
It adds up to 100. They say it's no coincidence. Apparently there's a good reason why attitude is so important, especially in management.
I'm starting to see where this is going. I'm all ears.
Me too. We'll get to that. But first, let's back up a little. What do we even mean when we say management? Any thoughts?
Well, I think one of the sources defined it as coordinating people towards a shared objective.
Right. Makes sense, right? But like we all know, it's more than just telling people what to do.
Yeah, it's definitely more nuanced than that. The source goes on to outline 5 core functions of management: planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling.
5. Wow. And you know, even with all those frameworks and functions, there's got to be something else, something that separates good managers from those truly fantastic ones.
I agree. There's that certain something, that extra spark.
Right. And one of the audio excerpts actually pointed to attitude being that crucial factor.
Attitude again. Interesting.
Yeah. It even mentions the CEO who turned around his whole company just by shifting his team's attitude. They went from barely breaking even to exceeding their targets by 200%.
200%.
Crazy, right?
It's impressive.
It is. And it really highlights how a manager's attitude can completely influence the outcomes.
It reminds me of that attitude adding up to 100 thing. Maybe it's not just a coincidence after all.
Yeah, it really emphasizes how powerful a manager's attitude is for the whole team. So it's not just about the skills and knowledge they have.
It's about cultivating the right mindset.
Right. And, you know, it makes me think back to those managers I've worked with who were super skilled, technically proficient, but they just lacked that inspiring can-do attitude.
Definitely. Skills are important, but without the right mindset, it's tough to create a truly positive and productive environment.
For sure. So what would you say are some of the key characteristics of a winning management attitude?
Well, this CEO we were just talking about, he really seemed to embody a lot of those qualities. He was super action-oriented, always taking responsibility, for successes and failures.
Accountability is huge.
Absolutely. And he also focused on his team's strengths and was really great at turning negatives into positives.
That's a valuable skill, focusing on what people do well and finding opportunities even in challenges.
Totally. And he wasn't afraid to nurture talent, even if it meant those individuals might eventually move on to bigger and better things.
That's a sign of a truly confident leader, I think.
Right.
Investing in their team's growth, even if it means they might leave eventually.
It shows a belief in their team and a commitment to their development.
He sounds like a dream boss. But let's be real, building those positive leadership habits, not always a walk in the park.
Definitely not. It takes effort and intention. We've all worked with managers who looked great on paper.
Oh, yeah. All the right credentials, the perfect resume.
But they struggled to really connect with their teams.
Inspire them, motivate them.
Exactly. Something was missing.
And that's where I think the workbook's framework comes in handy.
Oh, tell me about it.
It breaks down those effective management habits into 3 key areas: knowledge, skill, and desire.
Knowledge, skill, and desire. I like that. Simple but powerful.
It emphasizes that knowledge is all about understanding the what and the why of management.
The foundations, right?
Yep. And then skill is about having that practical know-how to actually implement those management principles.
So you need to know what to do and how to do it. But there's a third element. Desire.
Right. Desire.
Yeah.
That's all about the genuine interest and motivation that fuels it all. It's not enough to just go to a management training or read a book. You've got to actively cultivate these habits and really want to be a great manager.
It has to come from within.
Exactly. So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
I like that. So out of these 3 areas, knowledge, skill, and desire, which one do you think people typically struggle with the most?
That's a tough one. But if I had to pick, I'd probably say the desire part.
Desire, really?
Yeah. I think a lot of people end up in management positions without truly being passionate about leading and developing others.
Ah, I see. They might have the knowledge and the skills, but that inner drive, that passion is missing.
Exactly. And without that, it's tough to truly excel as a manager. It's like any profession. You've got to have that fire in your belly.
That genuine desire to make a difference. Makes sense.
But let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about sales. I know. The word sales sometimes gets a bad rap.
Oh, for sure. We've all had our fair share of run-ins with those pushy salespeople who seem more interested in their commission than actually helping us.
Right. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
It does. But one of our sources offers a totally different perspective. Get this. It says that sales is actually helping the client to buy.
Helping the client to buy. That's a different way to think about it.
I know. It really flips the script. It emphasizes this win-win philosophy where both the salesperson and the client actually benefit.
I love that. It takes away that feeling of manipulation and instead focuses on understanding the client's needs and helping them find the right solution.
It's more about a genuine partnership than a one-sided transaction.
And honestly, that's a concept I can really get behind. It's less about pushing a product and more about guiding the client towards something that truly serves them.
It makes the whole process feel more authentic and less icky.
Totally. But the question is, how do we go beyond simply making a sale and actually build those lasting relationships with clients?
That's where the distinction between customers and clients comes in, as one of our sources points out.
Customers versus clients.
Yeah, like a customer is just someone who makes a one-time purchase, a client. That's someone you build an ongoing relationship with, someone who trusts your expertise and sees you as a valuable resource.
So it's about nurturing that connection, going beyond just that single transaction.
Exactly. It's about building trust and demonstrating that you're in it for the long haul.
So less transactional, more relational.
Exactly. And one of the sources even shared this story about a salesperson who recommended a competitor's product when they didn't have the right solution for their client.
Wait, what? They recommended a competitor. Isn't that kind of, counterproductive?
You'd think so, right? But think about it. It's a bold move, but it builds incredible trust and loyalty.
Yeah, you're right. The client knows you have their best interests at heart, even if it means losing a sale in the short term.
Exactly. It's a powerful example of that helping the client philosophy in action.
That's awesome. It's like putting the client's needs first, even when it seems counterintuitive.
It's a long-term game.
Right. And it makes me think about my own referral network. Like, how can I collaborate with others to create these win-win situations?
It's all about finding those opportunities to help each other out and build a network of trust and mutual support. Speaking of powerful tools for connection and influence, let's bring NLP into the mix.
Yes, NLP. It's always felt a bit mysterious to me. Did you break it down for us? What is it, and how does it connect to all this stuff we've been talking about?
Sure. Think of NLP as a method of understanding and leveraging our thinking patterns, our language, and our behavior.
Okay. So it's about understanding how our minds work and how that affects our actions.
Exactly. And the neuro part refers to our neurological processes, linguistic to our language, and programming to how we can actually reprogram our thinking for better effectiveness.
Reprogramming our thinking. So it's like we can upgrade our mental software, so to speak.
Exactly. And it's amazing how much control we have over our thoughts and behaviors when we understand how our minds work.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. And the cool thing is that NLP can be applied in so many areas of life, from building rapport with clients to overcoming limiting beliefs that might be holding us back. It's a fascinating field with huge potential.
I'm definitely intrigued. Can you give us a real-world example of NLP in action, like maybe in a sales interaction?
Sure. Let's say you're trying to connect with a potential client who seems a bit hesitant or closed off. Using NLP techniques like subtly mirroring their body language or using language that resonates with their sensory preferences can actually help build rapport and create a sense of trust.
So it's like finding subtle ways to create a connection on a subconscious level.
Exactly. NLP is like a toolkit for effective communication and influence.
That's pretty awesome.
It is. And it can be a game changer in sales, management, and honestly, any interaction where building trust and rapport is important.
This is definitely getting interesting. I can't wait to delve deeper into NLP and see how it can help us level up our skills.
Me too. And we'll do just that in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back, deep divers.
Ready to jump back in?
Ready as ever.
Yeah.
Still thinking about that CEO who, totally transformed his company just by shifting his team's attitude.
Yeah, that 200% increase was mind-blowing.
I know, right? It really proves how much mindset matters, even in fields like management and sales.
It's not all about spreadsheets and sales pitches, is it? There's a human element that can't be ignored.
Absolutely. And speaking of sales, we were talking about that whole selling is helping thing before the break. It really stuck with me.
It's a game changer, isn't it? Challenges the whole idea of the pushy salesperson.
Totally. It just makes so much more sense to focus on understanding your client's needs and like genuinely guiding them toward the right solution.
Even if it means recommending a competitor's product, right?
Right. Remember that story we were talking about?
Oh, yeah. The financial advisor who sent his client to a competitor because he didn't have the right product.
It's crazy, but it's also kind of brilliant.
Totally. He prioritized building a long-term relationship over making a quick sale.
Talk about earning trust. I bet that client was super impressed.
And probably told all their friends, too. Word-of-mouth marketing at its finest.
Exactly. It shows that putting relationships first can really pay off. And, that ties back into what we were saying about building clients, not just customers.
Cultivating those long-term connections where you become a trusted advisor.
Right. It's about building trust and proving you're not just in it for a one-time transaction. But shifting gears a bit, we were starting to unpack NLP before the break. I'm really fascinated by that whole idea of, like, programming our minds for success. How does that actually work?
Well, think of it this way. We all have these internal programs running in our subconscious, right? They're influencing our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions.
Like mental scripts that we're constantly playing out.
Exactly. And just like a computer program, these mental patterns can be updated and optimized. We can literally reprogram our thinking for better performance.
So with NLP, we can actually identify those limiting beliefs and negative thoughts that are holding us back.
And replace them with more empowering ones. It's not just about getting rid of the negative, it's also about installing positive, supportive beliefs that help us achieve our goals.
That's super cool.
It is. It's like taking control of your mental operating system and making it work for you instead of against you.
So how can we actually apply NLP in a more practical way, like in a sales interaction, for example?
One of the most powerful applications of NLP in sales is rapport building. Establishing that connection and trust with your client.
Makes sense. It's hard to sell anything if you haven't built a rapport first.
Right. One of our sources actually calls rapport the foundation of any successful sales interaction, and NLP gives you specific techniques to make that happen.
Okay, I'm all ears. How does NLP actually help with rapport building?
Well, it's all about creating a sense of connection, often on a subconscious level. For example, subtly mirroring your client's body language or using language that appeals to their sensory preferences can really create a sense of resonance and understanding.
So it's about being more attuned to the other person, picking up on those subtle cues they're giving off.
Exactly. It's about creating a feeling of, we're on the same page here. And NLP gives you the tools to do that intentionally and effectively.
It's like speaking their language, even if you don't realize you're doing it.
Precisely. And that can make a huge difference in how your message is received.
This is fascinating stuff. So we've covered rapport building. But what about handling objections? I mean, those are bound to come up in sales, right? Does NLP have any tools for dealing with those tricky situations?
Absolutely. NLP teaches us to see objections not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to learn more about the client's needs.
Okay, so instead of getting defensive, we should see objections as a way to understand the client better.
Exactly. For example, let's say a client says they're concerned about the price. Instead of immediately jumping into a defensive mode, you can use NLP techniques to reframe their concern.
Reframe.
Yeah. You could say something like, I understand your concern about the price. It sounds like you're looking for the best value for your investment.
Ah, so you're acknowledging their concern and turning it into a conversation about the value you're offering?
Exactly. And that opens up a dialogue instead of shutting it down.
I like that. It's about turning a potential conflict into an opportunity to connect.
And ultimately, to find a solution that works for everyone.
This makes me think about using NLP for like self-motivation and achieving our own goals.
You're right. It's not just for external interactions, it's for internal ones too.
So we can use NLP techniques to like stay focused and motivated on our own personal goals.
Absolutely. The workbook actually has a whole section dedicated to using NLP for achieving personal and professional goals.
No way. Tell me more about that.
It emphasizes the importance of setting clear, well-defined goals and then using NLP techniques to visualize success and anchor positive emotions to those goals.
It's like creating a mental roadmap and then giving yourself all the tools you need to stay on track.
Exactly. And one of the audio excerpts also talks about using NLP to overcome those limiting beliefs that can sabotage our efforts. It's about empowering ourselves to achieve what we truly desire.
It's like giving yourself a pep talk from your own inner coach. I love it.
It's a powerful way to tap into your inner resources and achieve your full potential.
We've covered so much in this deep dive. I'm starting to see how management, sales, and NLP all connect.
They all feed into each other, right? Like different pieces of the same puzzle.
Totally. And that reminds me of one of the management principles we talked about earlier, the importance of continuous self-development. It seems like that's a recurring theme in all of our sources.
Absolutely. It's not enough to just learn these concepts. We need to be constantly evolving, refining our approach, and staying ahead of the curve.
Like that quote we heard earlier, the moment you stop learning is the moment you start becoming obsolete.
So true. In today's fast-paced world, we have to be lifelong learners, constantly adapting and upgrading our skills.
And I think NLP can play a huge role in that ongoing journey of growth and development. But before we get too carried away, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive. We've got one more piece of the puzzle to explore, and it's a big one.
Back for more deep diving.
Always up for another round. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from like the core of what management is all the way to NLP and how it can like supercharge our skills.
And don't forget sales. We explored how to approach sales with a more helpful and genuine mindset.
Yeah, that selling is helping concept was pretty eye-opening. But one thing that keeps popping up is this idea of, being prepared for anything.
Ah, the unexpected. It's always lurking around the corner, isn't it?
It is. And I'm not talking about like becoming a psychic or anything. It's more about cultivating that mindset of being adaptable and resourceful.
It's about embracing change, not fearing it.
Exactly. So it's less about trying to predict the future and more about like having that mental flexibility to roll with the punches.
Because in today's world, things change so quickly. Being able to adapt is essential for success.
Right. The only constant is change or something like that.
Pretty much. And one of the audio excerpts talked about the study on successful entrepreneurs. They actually thrive in unpredictable environments. They see those unexpected curveballs as like opportunities to learn and grow.
Makes sense. If you're comfortable with uncertainty, you're more likely to take risks and try new things.
And that's where that growth mindset comes in handy, right? Seeing setbacks as learning experiences instead of failures.
Totally. And, we talked about how NLP can help us build resilience and adaptability. Can you remind me how that works again?
Sure. One of the fundamental ideas in NLP is that the map is not the territory. It means that our perception of reality isn't always accurate. It's just our interpretation.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So we might be holding ourselves back based on our own beliefs and assumptions about the world.
Exactly. But NLP gives us tools to challenge those limiting beliefs and create new, more empowering perspectives.
It's like if our old mental map isn't working, we can use NLP to draw a new one that helps us navigate better.
Exactly. And the more flexible our thinking becomes, the better we can adapt to any situation.
I'm starting to see how management, sales, NLP are all connected. They all emphasize personal growth, adaptability, and those strong relationships.
It's about building a solid foundation for success, both personally and professionally.
Totally. And, speaking of success, one of the audio excerpts mentioned that a key quality of awesome managers is their ability to anticipate the unexpected.
Being proactive instead of reactive.
Right. Like they're not just scrambling to put out fires. They're thinking ahead and planning for what might come next.
It's about having a plan B, but also fostering that culture of preparedness within their team.
So it's not about micromanaging or trying to control everything. It's about encouraging everyone to be more proactive and adaptable.
Exactly. Building a team that's resilient and prepared to tackle any challenge that comes their way.
And having a solid understanding of NLP would be incredibly helpful for that, wouldn't it? Like to anticipate how people might react and, communicate more effectively.
Definitely. NLP gives you a deeper understanding of human behavior and communication, which are essential for effective leadership.
This deep dive has been quite a journey. We've explored so much, from the foundations of management to the, mind-bending possibilities of NLP.
It's been a wild ride. But the real work begins when we take all these insights and apply them in our own lives, right?
Absolutely. It's time to put what we've learned into action and see those results.
And remember, learning is an ongoing process. There's always more to discover, more to explore.
So, before we sign off, we have a question for you, deep divers.
Oh, a good one, I hope.
The best. Throughout this episode, we've been talking about helping the client when it comes to sales. But think about it this way. How can you apply this philosophy in other areas of your life?
I like that.
How can you approach your interactions with colleagues, with friends and family, even strangers, with that same spirit of genuine helpfulness?
It's about shifting our mindset from what can I get to how can I contribute.
Exactly. And remember, even small acts of kindness and understanding can create a ripple effect.
Make a positive impact on the world.
We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable tools and insights, not just for better management and sales, but also for a more fulfilling life.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time.